Normally I try to get this video up on the first day of June, but I've been camping in the Smoky Mountains the last few days. But this is every movie that I watched in the month of May. And the last time I did this, people asked me to like rate them or put grades on them. And normally I don't do that because I feel like if you put a grade on a movie, people can just skip your whole review and just look at the grade, or just they'll only remember like the grade you gave it and not anything else you said. But I'll try it out for this video. I was trying to get my girlfriend because I've shown her all of the Star Wars movies before, but it's been like 2 years and she's forgotten them mostly, and we were trying to finish them all before Obi-Wan came out. So we started watching. I was just going to show her the original 6, none of the Disney movies. So we saw the Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace, I still love this movie. I mean, yeah, Jar Jar sucks and he's a scumbag walking around barefoot with a wife beater on, and he's just making a mess. It's ridiculous. I love the pod race. I love the fucking battle at the end. There's so many good things in this movie. I don't like young Anakin, but there's a lot of great things in the Phantom Menace, I think. I'd give it a B. Doctor Strange, I rewatched this movie to see right before Multiverse of Madness because I hadn't seen this movie since the theater. And when I saw it in the theater, I thought it was like meh, and seeing it now, it was still the same. I think it's a pretty decent movie overall. I think it's best when it's about a doctor who wants to repair his shaking hands, and it's like an egotistical doctor having to forget everything he knows and having to humble himself and like learn from these people. But once it turns into Doctor Strange fighting Caecilius, a villain that's just like awful, and the ending looks like one of those trippy posters from Hot Topic. But I did enjoy this movie overall. It just was like kind of fine. I'd give it a B-. Then I saw Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. This movie had a lot of good elements. I love Wanda, Scarlet Witch. I loved her in WandaVision. She's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. And when she's bloody and killing people, I was such a big fan of it. But there's so much of this movie that I wasn't a big fan of. Thought this was one of the messiest, honestly dumbest written MCU movies that I've ever seen. I'd give Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a C-. Then I watched Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is like fucking so entertaining because you got like two storylines going on. You got the awesome Obi-Wan detective storyline investigating Kamino and Jango Fett and the whole clone army. And then you've got this ridiculous Twilight-esque cheesy romance story between Padme and Anakin. And it's like super creepy and cringy and like stalker-esque. And then the third act, when they all come together, is like pretty cool. But it's like fun to watch because you got like serious good shit and then you got cheesy ridiculous shit, and I think it's a good blend. But I mean, I'm not gonna say it's like amazing, like objectively. Attack of the Clones, I'll give a C+. Then I watched Firestarter, a movie that I thought got way too much hate from the critics and everyone. I thought it was fine, felt like a weird Stranger Things ripoff, but it was entertaining enough. I think it got better with each act, where the first act felt like a Hallmark Channel, and then it went like progressively got better, and then the third act was pretty awesome. They had this hitman character in there called Rainbird, who reminded me of Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. I liked it. Firestarter, I'd give a B. Then I watched Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. This is my favorite of the prequels. There's so many great things that I love about this movie. There's silly moments, there's cheesy moments. It's not executed to a T. I still think in all the prequels there's too much green screen. Way too much green screen that doesn't hold up nowadays. But overall, I am a pretty big fan of Revenge of the Sith. I think the fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan gets a little bit ridiculous at the end, but I love the fight scene between Emperor and Yoda. I'll give Revenge of the Sith an A-. Then I watched Mad Max Fury Road because it was the 7th anniversary of it, and Mad Max Fury Road is still one of my favorite action movies of all time. I think it's one of the greatest movies we've had of the last like 15 years, and I wish more movies would learn from Mad Max Fury Road when it comes to practical effects, the way they filmed their action, the way they edited their movie. I think, and honestly, I think Fury Road's like one of the most quotable movies of all time. I'd give Fury Road an A+. It's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I love it so much. Then I watched the original Star Wars. The original Star Wars, I mean, I don't need to review it. It's fucking amazing, and everything ever has been said about it. And I love the movie. Only because I've seen what its sequel, Empire Strikes Back, could do with Star Wars, and I think this is just a little bit below Empire Strikes Back. I'll give the original Star Wars an A. Then I saw Men. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I put out a spoiler review for it and like an analysis and explained video, so I have like over 20 minutes of Men content on here if you want to check it out. but I think the concept and the idea behind Men was genius, and I loved it. I think in the third act it sort of falls apart, and I think it's such a bummer because Alex Garland had such an important message to say, and I think so many people could have truly like learned from watching this movie, but he got so obsessed with like being weird and being obscure to the point that he's alienating his audience, and nobody's gonna take anything out of this movie because by the time you're done with this movie, you're like, thank fucking God. So it could have been much better, but it still was pretty great. I think it's Alex Garland's worst movie, but that's, he's had 2 other great movies, Annihilation, Ex Machina, so for this to be at the bottom is not saying anything too bad. I'd give Men a B-. Then I saw Stand By Me for the first time ever, and I fucking love this movie. It was so fun, it was so simple, but also so complex, like it's kids walking to see a dead body. And seeing River Phoenix was awesome. I really love this movie. Stand By Me, I'd give an A. Then I saw the original Top Gun. The original Top Gun I heard from a lot of people wouldn't hold up as well nowadays. My girlfriend saw it and she wasn't that into it. I love the original Top Gun. I think it had so many great shots of Tom Cruise. Just like if you do a shot of the guy riding his motorcycle in like the nighttime or in the sunset, racing alongside a jet, like you won me over. And then he's sitting there and they have this shot where he's sitting on the motorcycle and the jet's coming, and then they cut and it passes above him and he's just staring at it. Slow shit like that I feel like doesn't exist in movies nowadays. There's movies that are so packed with jokes and action and explosions, and they never take slow moments to just have a character like watch a jet or watch something and soak it in. I love the original Top Gun. I was such a big fan of it. And like then when Goose dies, it takes a whole twist to the movie that I didn't think the movie had, like this, like was gonna have this dramatical element, and it did. I'll give the original Top Gun an A. Then I saw Top Gun Maverick. Opening night to a sold out crowd. Honestly, now I've seen it twice. Top Gun Maverick, like everything I said with Mad Max Fury Road, I think is one of the greatest action movies we've had in a very, very long time. I hope other movie studios learn from Top Gun Maverick how to film action, how to do an action movie, because so many movie studios try to follow the MCU formula, which I think it's fucking annoying, honestly. It's fucking like non-stop jokes and explosions and so much CGI. Tom Cruise is like, fuck that, we're doing this shit for real. We're gonna have real jets, real action, and real characters, and not make you forget that you're watching a movie by being like, look how funny we can be and look at this crazy CGI we can do. It's like, no, at the end of the day, this is a film about characters, and then the action comes afterwards. But when we have the action, it's going to be amazing, and we're going to put everything into it. Not on computers, but in real life. We're actually going to fly these jets. The third act, the whole time I was watching this, I was just like, I wish Tom Cruise and Joseph Kosinski could make a Star Wars movie. Because if they took over some X-Wings and TIE Fighters, I'm sure Tom Cruise will be like, we're going to actually build the X-Wings and TIE Fighters and learn to fly them. And then I'm going to jump out of one and crash it into a Star Destroyer. I think it honestly might be my favorite movie of the year so far, and I'm going to give it an A+. And then while I was camping in the Great Smoky Mountains over the weekend, I downloaded Ford v Ferrari. And it took me like 2 days to watch it because I was like driving, then watching the movie while I wasn't driving. But I think this movie has some cheesy parts, and maybe it's because it's based in the 60s, but it has a 60s feel and sort of a 60s cheese, I'd say. And that's almost my only negative with the movie. Other than that, I think this movie is incredible. And like I said with Top Gun Maverick, like how the film fucking jet scenes in the sky. I've never seen race scenes in a movie or just a car film this entertaining, this like mind-blowing. Like the race, the Le Mans, the Daytona race, even the track races, and when Ken Miles blows up in the car the first time, and just all the different cars that they have in this film. I think even if you're not a car guy, you'd love this movie, but if you're a car guy especially and you love cars, this is like a movie that you have to see, because I think it would be hard not to love this movie. I'm going to give Ford v Ferrari an A. So there's all the movies I saw for the month of May. It's only 14, which might not be a lot for some people who could watch a movie every single day. But I mean, I work a lot, I skateboard, I took a trip to the Smoky Mountains. I can't watch a movie every day, but 14, honestly, this month, that's almost every other day. I was pretty proud of that. So What movies did you see in the month of May, and what do you think of my grades? Any ones that you disagree with, any ones that you agree with? My only A+s I gave were Mad Max Fury Road and Top Gun Maverick, two of the greatest action movies of our generation. Thanks for watching. I make hand-painted horror hats, etsy.com/evilbroomstick. I'm doing a sale for the month of June. Everything in the shop is 15% off, so visit it. Link in the bio, etsy.com/shop/evilbroomstick. Buy yourself a hat.